Hi there and welcome back to Sosnovka. We're on our way up to collect the eggs from the chickens, which we get for free in this game. We never did before. So we'll collect the eggs and then go and take them to the selling point, which is also a good excuse to go and have a little look around town. See exactly where it is we are here, have a bit of an explore. In terms of the way the game is panning out, I think we're going to be okay. And just to kind of explain to those who haven't seen us before, basically it's not exactly a role play, but we're playing on hard in Sosnovka. It's a little bit grindy. I mean, obviously the difference between playing on hard and playing on normal is things take longer. Basically, there's a little more to it than that. In fact, whereas before the prices were usually half what they were on normal on hard mode, and now they're about 70% from what I've seen so far. So maybe it's not quite as hard as it used to be. But anyway, so we're very limited in what we can do, so I come up with ideas in my head when I'm driving up and down the field as to why I've bothered to put myself through this, and here we are. We're in Sosnovka, very underpopulated part of the Republic, and we don't know why. And we kind of want to find out, but our job here is to establish a cow farm. We've just been past the bank, which is a bit irrelevant now. You can do all the finances on the menu screen, which you didn't before. We sold the eggs, a couple of $100 for 2 days. Well, money for nothing, but let's have a little look around. Now, look at the state of this town. There's got to be some kind of story here. That looks like a library, some kind of public building. All this pipework, it goes into the houses, but all connects up to this machine in the corner, which seems to be the only new freshly painted looking thing in the entire town. And the yellow pipework, if you look at the buildings, it doesn't even just go into each building, it goes into individual rooms. Why would you need to gas whatever you're doing to the buildings like that? You may also notice how very quiet it is around here. You can hear the birds. The game volume is a little bit louder than normal in this section, just so you can hear how quiet it is. How strange is that? Broken windows, boarded up from the inside. Is that to keep people in? I don't know. The vehicles around town are suspiciously clean. No rubbish anyway. As I said, we're here to do the cow farm. All of the profit, as it were, although it's not really profit, has to go back into cows. We've got a little bit of leeway. We have to deal with the man from the ministry. He's quite strict, but as long as we can demonstrate that doing something will increase the efficiency of milk production somehow, then we'll be okay. We might be able to get away with a little bit more variety in our play. Look at these people. See the eyes, they glint. It reminds me of something. They do not make a sound as they walk, and they're strangely dressed, really, for Sosnovka. No, we're not even going to talk to anybody else. They don't even talk to us. It's very strange. Anyway, down to some maths. Well, okay, not maths exactly, but certainly some figures. These are basically the tidied up numbers from day 2. You can see the surplus on the day. The profit is about $4,500. That's basically our base figure. I'm glad we left the wages to be as high as they could. That gives a little bit of leeway when we're talking to the man from the ministry. Right, before we pop back, we're going to get some fertilizer for the day. Another 2 crates of fertilizer, $3,200. We're using, I think, about $1,500 worth a day. And until the cows start producing enough fertilizer, we can't really do an awful lot about that. But what we can do is find some other ways of making some leeway, and here's one of them. Now, everything in Sosnovka is run by ministries, and the Ministry of Wood are reopening this old lumber mill down here, and have got the Ministry of Cows to lend us to them. Now, this first tree is one of the cheapest trees on the map. It's like $450 for him. What you really want to aim for, certainly these better trees that are over here, and when we get into the forest itself, which we will do at some stage, I'll show you which are the best trees to go for there, just to save you a little bit of time and make you a little bit more money. Now, certainly in the last game, front loaders are very expensive. I used to do some of this with a front loaded mower, but do be careful. But do see we made about $640 for that tree, so that's not bad for a couple of minutes work. And just because you know we love to experiment, we have to know everything. This is pretty much the same tree cut in half. Not the exact same tree, but they're all pretty uniform. And that's about an extra 10% on the money there. So that's to bear in mind. On these trees here, we can probably make some money out of them. Now, the other thing we can do up here in Sosnovka is come over to these other fields on the map, which are being operated by other ministries for research and experimentations, and we can help them with that by doing some jobs. And the more jobs we do, not only do we get some credit from them, also they actually will be more willing to let us have their field. The price will in effect come down, to put it in capitalist terms. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at that. Not sure. We're going to go back. We're going to do this other field over here. Obviously these ones are just opposite the lake from the fields we've already got. Very self-contained little area. Keeps the logistics down. So we're going to do a job. You can change the equipment on the job. If you say no, come back and do it. You can change the equipment. If your equipment gets bigger or smaller, so the job takes longer, you'll get more money for it. So that's something to bear in mind. And I haven't really done many jobs in Farm Sim 17, to be honest with you. And I'm thinking I can get away being a little bit slapdash, you know, what the ministry. But I'll note the ministry, less sticklers, as you will see. We definitely need to do a good job if we want to get the time bonus. Now I know they nerfed the time bonuses from how the game was when it first came out, but we still want every penny we can. Unfortunately, you see, we've been sent back round to finish off the bits we missed. We'll definitely be more careful next time. We don't want to tarnish the reputation of the work of the Ministry of Cows. And there we go, a little bit extra credit for us, but that's good because we've spoken to the man from the ministry and he is going to allow us to get a front mounted cultivator. Now there's a choice of them, and we're going to get this one because it's the cheapest. They're all the same width. The one next to it, the other Lemkin model, could be front or rear mounted, but we'll talk about that more later. Now, why anyone would want to buy the 1 meter version of this, I have no idea. I thought it might join on the ends and make it wider, but no, it seems to be a standalone 1 meter cultivator. Why? And let's not forget those 4 pieces of equipment that we leased. Now the plough is up to half an hour. We'll try to keep an eye on him and think about when we trigger the next hour's payment. The other 3 guys are nowhere near. We can get plenty more work out of them if we actually have a look at where we are on the older accounts. And remember, these sheets aren't always accurate. They don't take into account daily use of stuff like fertilizer and seed because you're not buying them every day. You can see up there we bought a chainsaw today and we bought the front mounted cultivator. Vehicle costs, not really something we can even think about addressing. But here the leasing costs, not too bad at all really. 300 a day, we can manage that. It's going to be the hourly rate that we need to just keep an eye on, and that only really applies to the plough. Now here we go. There's our fantastic new setup. Works very well. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Another thing I have thought about with these rollers that would kind of act like a weeder. Not really sure how cost effective they'd be in terms of replacing fertilizer. But anyway, not to worry. We've got some other work to do here. We're going to get the plough. The man from the ministry, you know, he's cutting us quite a lot of slack. We're going to just extend this field a bit. As we saw yesterday, the whips are a little bit out. So ironically, that was the thing that spurred me on. Remember that, to actually get the plough out. So we're going to flatten this corner of the field off. Apparently the ministry records aren't too strict on exactly what a field and what a field border is. The little tractor, as you saw there, is managing to do the cultivating and seeding. He does it a little bit slower, but he can do it, and it's always good to know because only the heavy tractor could be doing this. Do remember to press the button to activate create fields when you're ploughing. And ironically, there you go, I got a little bit carried away and created exactly the same problem that I intended to end. I've got a little strip of field left unfertilised. Never mind. Hopefully we'll make a little bit more money. We're only going to do that field today. Now look guys, I'm an expert front loader driver. Now you could say I should have had a front weight. You could have say my bucket was high. I was going quite fast. I tried to turn, but no. There's something odd. Just keep an eye on this, what goes on, especially at the bucket end of the tractor. The pond is trying to drag me into it. I'm trying every technique to get this tractor upright, and I've got quite good at it, I can tell you. But there you go. Did you look? What was that? That sucked the seed into the lake. I don't know. But anyway, we solved the problem the good old-fashioned way. On with the show. Anyway, we're selling the old cultivator that is now completely redundant. I did toy with the idea of getting rid of the cultivator anyway and just ploughing every day, but no, we've got a much better solution. We know that. And we're going to buy some seed now because we've run out of seed. And here we go, he's gone. It managed to accelerate quicker than the tractor. There you go. A little bit odd. This game's always had fantastic glitches. In Farm Sim 13 on Xbox 360, you could catapult tractors into the air if you jumped out of them at the wrong time. But this is new. Look at this. This is fantastic. There's some build-up of static electricity, something going on, and now, just as I think I'm getting it back under control, there you go. Now that actually flew towards that lake as well. I don't know. Maybe we'll solve this mystery one day. Maybe we never will. Maybe I've just played too much Fallout and I think I'm going to find a clue in the woods. Who knows? On with the show. Just carry on like nothing weird's happening, that's what I say. The front loaders are certainly much easier to use than they ever used to be before, I must say that. Right, we're off to sell, and today we're going to the grain elevator, which is about as far away as we can go, but that's where we're going. It's a little bit of a trek. Glad we got the bigger tractor, glad we're only dragging one trailer, because we do go quite slowly up the top part of this hill, and it can take a long time and be quite frustrating sometimes. Anyway, you can see there where we are on the map. We've actually popped down right to the bottom of the map to where the sheep would be, about as far away on the map as possible, which makes them rather impractical. I hope that's the right way to go around the Sosnovka roundabout. And here we go. We're actually going to make a little bit less money than yesterday. We're selling the same crop, soya again. The price has gone down a little bit, but certainly not bad. But again, look at the state of this place, guys. I don't know who looks after this place. That roof, look at it. I mean, looks like it's been bombarded. But anyway, here we go. Here's our fantastic new setup. Very pleased with it. It also, you know, is going to crack on, save us a little bit of wages money, and give us a lot more free time to get out and about and really explore the map. Haven't really shown you any field work, etc. today. There's nothing more to add to what I showed you yesterday in the last episode, and that's not really what this playthrough is going to be about. Well, here we go. As you'll get into my habit of my midnight cow feeding, eagerly awaiting the results of the day to come in from the ministry. And there's that big chunk of money going out. Maybe one day some of those numbers will be smaller. Now, today we bought stuff, we sold stuff again. It's a very sort of bit of a scrappy day. So tomorrow we'll have a little bit of extra income from the extra field we made for ourselves. Now, 3 things to take into consideration. It takes 31 days for a cow to pay for itself, which is kind of awful. The daily price variance on the market is plus or minus 10%, so it might make it a complete lottery, we'll see. And we'll make 2 cows a day on average, just on our base income and the fact that they're breeding, so that is a little bit more positive. Now, you may remember we mentioned the other Lemkin cultivator that could be front or rear mounted, and I mentioned that to the guy from the ministry, and he said he had this old stuff, and he gave me a box of recently declassified research and testing footage from the ministry archive. And we managed to find an old projector, and here it is. As you can see, if you get the cultivator go on the back, you can fit the seeder behind it. But then you're going to definitely need a front weight, and I think this is an 1100 kilo one, because you're making such a heavy object on the back of your tractor. You're going to be able to pull it along at about 5 miles an hour, and you're also going to be very long, which might become problematic in some of the tighter fields, but who knows. If you're wondering why the trials of a tractor would be classified, that's because here in Sosnovka there is tremendous competition between the different ministries. The Ministry of Cows, the Ministry of Food, the Ministry of Meat. They all kind of compete, they overlap, so no one likes to do anyone else a favour, and everyone likes to get one step ahead. That's how overlapping bureaucracy works. But here you see, with the front loaded cultivator, you don't need to buy yourself front weight. You can get the seeder straight on the back of the tractor. The whole unit is a little bit more compact, and you can do it at 9 miles an hour, which is almost double the speed. And if there's anything else interesting in the box from the archives, we shall share the information and the films with you. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment, let us know what you think, give us any suggestions, leave a like, subscribe, and we'll be back. The four